This State Senator Royce West with another edition of the Austin Report. Boy, what a week this has been. You know, we're in legislative session. But think about what happened this week. We saw Donald Trump leave Washington. We saw Joe Biden, Kamala Harris sworn in as president and vice president, respectively. Kamala Harris broke the glass ceiling, ladies. Finally, it's broken. We saw the first woman of color, the first South Asian sworn in as vice president. Joe Biden's speech should be what we as Democrats move towards. You know, this country is about what? Democracy. Democracy prevailed even though we had the insurrection. Now, let me say something about that insurrection for 1 minute. We need to make certain that everyone who was involved in the planning and the failed execution of that insurrection held accountable. You know your history, what happened right after the Civil War. We should not sweep it under the rug. We need to hold people accountable. The first branch of government was attacked in order to try to thwart the will of people in this country by overturning an election. I understand that on February the 8th, I believe it is that the trial will begin in the Senate concerning impeachment and conviction of Donald Trump. We know that we have issues concerning COVID, and I'm glad to see that the president has made that his number one issue, to make certain that we come together as a nation with a national strategy to deal with the issue of this pandemic. This pandemic is, needless to say, taking over 400,000 lives in this country. And to those families, I want to make certain that they know that we here in Texas, and specifically for those families in Texas, you have our condolences, and we'll do everything in our power to make certain that we do away with this pandemic. When I think about some of the issues that are going on in North Central Texas, questions concerning who gets, who's eligible, and making certain we have enough vaccine for everyone in America. And I'm glad to see Joe Biden say 100 million people in the first 100 days of his administration. By the way, on January the 26th, which is this next Tuesday, I'm having a virtual town hall meeting, which will provide the information and link information to you as a part of the Austin Report. I have Dr. Hellerstedt, who's the Commissioner of Health and responsible for the pandemic-related issues here in the state of Texas. Make sure that you join. It's going to be about 6:30 p.m. and it's going to last about an hour. We will take questions. When we think about what happened during the legislative session, well, we've been in recess, but things are still moving forward. Redistricting. We're going to make certain we update the redistricting schedule for all of you, and also provide you how you can participate. We will have regional hearings. The regional hearings will be virtual, so you have the opportunity to participate. The one for North Central Texas, specifically Dallas and Tarrant counties, will be on February the 4th. And so we need to make certain that those of you who want to participate will have an opportunity to do it. No excuses. You don't have to come to Austin. You can participate virtually. The budget came out this week. In fact, this is Friday that we're doing Austin Report, yesterday. And so you know the priorities of a state by looking at its budget. And so what we will be doing over the course of the next few Austin Reports is kind of taking apart the budget as introduced. And understand, just because it was introduced one way doesn't mean it's going to end up staying that way, because it will not. And we will talk about the various articles in that budget: criminal justice, health and human services, education, and so on, economic development. So you have an understanding of that. We will also give you a link in terms of where you can look at the budget as introduced. The Senate has introduced a version and the House has introduced a version. Let me say this. This week I had the opportunity to be on several Zoom calls, but one that stood out above the rest of them. The Texas UT Young Democrats had their first meeting of the spring semester, and had probably about 40 to 45 persons in attendance. They're ready. They're raring to go. They want to make certain that we do everything in our power to put in place persons here in Texas that have the best interests of all Texans at heart. And so to those university Dems, I want to say thank you for inviting me, and I look forward to working with you over the course of these next couple of years to make certain that our voice is heard. In closing, it's very important that you participate. Participation, frankly, is easier now than it has been in the past, because most of the hearings that we're having in the Senate and probably so in the House, you'll be able to participate virtually. So there's no excuse in terms of participation. Yes, I know that we have a broadband problem in this country, in this state, specifically in our urban and our rural communities. And we're going to be working on that this legislative session, as well as some of the other issues that you previously heard me talk about. This is Senator Royce West with another edition of the Austin Report.